So you're a new tractor owner, and although your tractor came with a drawbar, you're starting to see a lot of different options out there for trailering. I get questions all the time from you good folks about different types of trailing options for hauling loads with your tractor. So today I'm going to do a quick video. I'm going to show you some of the options that I've come across and in fact used. I'll give you my opinions on them. I'm also going to let you in on a few things I've learned that you're not going to find in here, but are really important. Hope you'll stick around today. Cheers. So by now you're familiar that you've got a drawbar on the tractor. It's got a couple of holes in it. You decide what type or what size of ball you want to put on there, but of course once you've affixed it, you don't have an option unless you want to take the wrenches out of changing it to different sizes if you have different size trailer hitches on the trailers on your property. You should find a chart that looks similar to this inside your owner's manual, and it will tell you the maximum capacities that you're allowed to put on your lower link arms, as well as the maximum load or trailer weight that you're allowed to put on this drawbar. A few positives and a few cons about using the drawbar. One, you always want to make sure that you pull that drawbar out or push it all the way in if you're ever going to attach a PTO implement to the back, because you don't want it to get in the way of the PTO shaft. Nice thing about having it there, it's handy when you need it, and if you've got a trailer that's got a jack on it, it's pretty easy. You're not going to be able to see the ball from the back of the tractor because it's too far underneath, but at least if you get it under there close enough and it's not too heavy a load, you can get that trailer on it pretty easily. If you've got a buddy, he can kind of direct you underneath the hitch. One of the cons about it, of course, is that it's static. It doesn't move up or down. So if your trailer's in the forest, or it's like my boat or any of the trailers I have on the property, and that trailer hitch is too low to the ground, you're going to need to find a way to jack it up if you don't have a jack in order to get the ball under it. So naturally, we start noticing that there's a number of different options out there that you can put on the tractor or use on the tractor to trailer loads. Here's a few of them. The clamp-on hitch, you pretty much find them anywhere at your dealer, at different farm co-ops, TSC, etc. It's not a bad option depending on what you want it for and depending on how strong your bucket is. Simple piece of equipment, you slide it over the bottom lip of the bucket, clamp it down, put your ball hitch in, and pick up your trailers or your loads. A couple of pros and cons. Pro is it's on the loader, so if that trailer tongue is down low or up high, you can easily get under or slide underneath it to pick it up. A couple of cons with it though is that entire trailer weight is resting on the bottom of your bucket. And as you'll learn over time when you see different YouTube videos probably, or you've already learned, the bottom of the bucket is not intended to have several hundred pounds or more of trailer weight hanging right in the middle unsupported. And what you'll find over time, or even when you pick up something heavy, like my 2,000-pound boat, that probably has a trailer weight of, I'd say the tongue weight is probably a few hundred pounds, because I sure as heck can't lift it. All of that weight sits in the middle on the bottom plate of your bucket, unsupported. And your bucket will start to smile, as they call it. And when you're doing grading work or any other type of work, the last thing you want to do is eventually have the bottom of your bucket not flat or even. That's the first con. The second concern I have with it is once you get past or down below the hood level, you can no longer see it. So you're basically using the hitch blind. And even if you attempt to try to get up off the seat or lean forward, you're probably not going to find an angle that you're able to still see this hitch. So when you're trying to push into your trailer, unless you have somebody else guiding you in, it's going to be difficult to get that ball under. I was very grateful to the company that sent me this hitch to try it on the channel a few years ago. I used it once, and for me, this is not an option that I'd prefer to use again. My Workmaster plate from JU Fabworks came as an all-in-one plate, as you folks know recently, with grab hooks, a couple of D-rings, and a trailer hitch slot. Pretty practical. It's got some pros and cons, just like the rest of them. Nice to have that extra slot or that extra trailer hitch here up at the front. Primary reason for the plate was the grab hooks and the D-rings. But as you just saw in a recent video, it comes in really handy, and I've used it a number of times already. A couple of pros and cons. One of the cons, it's up high on the top of the bucket, which means that even when the bucket's on the ground, you're still what are you, just a little over 2 feet 6 inches up off the ground. So if you've got a trailer in the forest, or you don't have a trailer with a jack that goes that high, kind of difficult to get the ball under the hitch. It doesn't happen to me often here, but if you do have a trailer that's down on the mud or it's sitting down low, you're not going to get that ball under it. One of the cons about it that I like is that it is sitting up high. So I can actually see the ball completely from the seat of my tractor. Even when I drop the bucket down to the ground, I can see the very top of the ball if I lean forward in the seat. So I can see the ball, navigate my way underneath the hitch, and get the ball up into it pretty easily. Plus, when I'm pushing trailers around the property, I'm not having to worry about backing up. I'm pushing it in front of me, which makes it so far a lot easier to trailer that load or move it around the property. Another con to using a receiver on the top of your bucket is a lot of jack stands will only go to a maximum height of 18 inches. Probably the most common option you're seeing out there is a trailer hitch for your 3-point. It's really handy to have, very practical and super helpful, especially if you've got a property that's forested and you've got trailers either of different ball sizes or at different heights, or they're on the ground or they're sitting in the mud, or you're in a position where you don't have flat ground and a nice high trailer hitch to back into. This model you see here is one of 2 different styles I have. The second one I don't have with me today. I gave it to my brother when he got his BX 2680. But it's just got a single receiver. Both of them have pros and cons. This one, as you see here, has a double receiver. So you've got a place to put a hitch down low, but if you need a higher hitch and higher lifting height, you'll find that you can place the hitch in either place. One of the negatives of this style is there's nowhere to put your safety chains. There's no D-rings or any type of D-hooks, but at the same time, as you can see, it's got holes already drilled in the bottom bar, so you can throw some shackles in there if you want. It does the same thing. The other hitch I have, as I mentioned, has a single receiver slot, but it also comes with a couple of angle or chain hooks, as well as some D-rings. So you're going to see different models with different ideas on there. The benefits are kind of obvious, right? It's on your 3-point, so you've got the flexibility to move it up and down to whatever height you need in order to get under that trailer tongue. So if that trailer tongue is down low in the mud, or maybe in the spring thaw, it's sunk, you've got the ability to drop that hitch down, get under it, and pick it up. You also, within a model like this, have an option here to have another about 12 or 14 inches of height in the event, as I did once, I needed to pull a splitter off a flatbed, and in order to catch it, the tongue, I needed to get up high with the tractor on the back of the flatbed, and that's when this came in pretty handy. It does, however, have a big con. Although this is pretty functionally practical, the big drawback to this is that you've got a compact tractor, and compact tractors don't have any down pressure on the 3-point. That means when you throw a big trailer full of firewood or a 2,000-pound boat trailer on the back, and you drive over something that's not a flat surface at a slow speed, and you're hitting bumps, every time that trailer weight moves, your 3-point also moves. And that is where the danger or the risk lies. Your hydraulics for the 3-point are sitting in the back here. And with no down pressure on this trailer, if you hit a bump or a hard incline or a hard decline or a pothole, your trailer is going to force your 3-point up, and you could potentially damage the cylinders back here. And in fact, it happens on a frequent basis according to the mechanic at my dealer. I can't explain it to you technically because I'm not a mechanic. All I know is when this hitch is bouncing or being forced to the very end of the throw on those cylinders, it damages them. And according to the mechanic at my dealership, it's not a couple $100s to fix it. It's a several $1,000 fix, and you're going to be without the tractor for a while. So what I do myself is if I'm ever trailering, I drive very slowly and I try to remain on flat surfaces. If I am pulling a trailer for whatever reason using a 3-point through the forest, I drive really slowly. If you tune into Tractorman 44 or Dave's channel, RCAF Polar Express, you'll see that they both fabricated a couple of support beams, steel beams, that they tie to the connection here on the top link, and they tie the other end down to the lower links on either side. And what that will do is it will create structure between the top of your 3-point and your lower lift arms so that it can't move when it's hauling trailer weight. Well, GP, you should just read your manual. The 3-point has a hitch lock. If you're hauling a big heavy load, just turn that knob under the seat, lock the 3-point so that it won't move. That's what I thought too, because it doesn't explain the function very well. Let me show you what that lock does. So you're right, there is a knob here. This adjusts the speed at which the 3-point raises or lowers, but it also allows you to lock the 3-point in position, or at least that's what I thought. And it does lock it, but it only locks it from falling to the ground or dropping. It doesn't lock it upwards. Talked to my mechanic at the dealership because I was confused. I thought it locked it in both ways. It doesn't. The purpose of that lock is for travel. The reason it's in there is for safety. If you're hauling a load or you've got implements on the back of the tractor, and for example, you're driving down the concession road, you should always lock that 3-point. The purpose of that locking function is for safety. If you're driving or traveling with the tractor and you've got load on the back, you're supposed to lock the 3-point in the event that your hand accidentally hits that lever at some point, and so that you don't have a big load on the back of your tractor fall to the ground or the surface of the roadway while you're trying to travel, especially in traffic. That's the point of it. It's not intended to safeguard your cylinders. The light just went on, didn't it? You probably now know why you've got this lock on your loader arms. It's for the same reason. You got 600 pounds of gravel in that bucket and you're driving down the roadway, you're supposed to engage the lock. That way it locks your loader stick. So if you accidentally hit it while you're driving, your loader can't accidentally fall to the ground under load, especially when you're driving in high gear on a roadway. Now you know what the locks are for. Well, I hope that's been a little bit informative or helped give you a little bit of experience that I've had over the last few years with the different options. And I wish you well when you decide on what trailering option is best for your tractor, if in fact you need one. Thanks for sticking around today. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful week with your families. Please be kind to each other. And I'll see you again right here on GP Outdoors. Cheers. Including a very important thing that you're not going to find in here. Hope you'll stick around today. Cheers.
Into the woods?
Do it again, just cut it and start.